Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. This is the second part to part one, but we are going back to the beginning of the beginning of Abraham Apocalypse, chapter 18, which I did not read out completely. My father wants me to reiterate that chapter over again. Those chapters. So I will be reading from chapter 18 to chapter 25 on this discussion. Not to keep it too long, and then we'll come back with a third part if there's going to be any discussion. So let's start. So, chapter 18 of Abraham's Apocalypse, we start at verse 1. While I was still reciting the song, the mouth of the fire on the surface rose high in the air, and I heard a voice like a roaring sea. It was non-stop by even the plethora of fire. And as the fire rose up very high, I saw under the fire a throne of fire, and around it was many eyes watching. They were the all-seeing ones, and they were singing their song. Under the throne were four radiant, on fire, living ones, singing, but they looked as if they were one creature, but each one had four faces. This is how they appeared and how they looked to me. Each one had the face of a lion, a man, an ox, and an eagle. And because of their four faces upon their bodies, they had 16 faces. Each one had three pairs of wings coming out of their shoulders, their sides, and their hips. With the wings from the shoulders they covered each faces. With the wings from their hips they covered their feet. The middle wings were spread out, and they flew erect as if standing up straight forward. Then, when they had ended their singing, they looked at one another and threatened one another. Then, when the angel who was with me saw that they were threatening each other, he left me and went running to them. He turned the face of each living creature from the face which was opposite it, so that they could not see each other's face. And he taught them the song of peace, which the Eternal One has in himself. And while I stood alone and watched, I saw a chariot with wheels of fire behind the living ones. Each wheel had eyes around it, and it was full of eyes. Above the wheels was the throne which I had seen before. It was covered with fire, and the fire encircled it. An indescribable fire contained a mighty fiery host, and I heard its holy voice like the voice of a man. Chapter 19, verse 1. And a voice came to me out of the middle of the fire, saying, Abraham, Abraham. And I answered, saying, Here I am. And he said, Look at the wide places, area, expanses, which are under the firmament, sky, theater of stars, on which you now stand. Notice that no other place, area, expanse has yielded the one for whom you have searched or who has loved you. While he was still talking, the areas opened up. Below me were the heavens, and I saw a fire which was widespread. There was a light, which is the storehouse vault of life. There was the dew that God will use to awaken the dead, the spirits of the righteous, those that had gone on before, and the spirits of those souls who are yet to be born, judgment and righteousness, peace and blessings, and an innumerable host of angels and the living ones, and the power of the invisible glory sat above the living ones. All of these were in the seventh firmament on which I stood, and I looked down from the high mountain on which I stood on the sixth firmament, and there I saw a host of angels of pure spirit without bodies, whose duty was to carry out the commands of the fury angels who were upon the seventh firmament. As I was standing suspended over them, and I looked down on the sixth firmament, and there were no other powers of any form, only the angels of pure spirit. I was standing on its elevation, and on this firmament there was nothing in any form and no other host, but only the spiritual angels. I saw a host on the seventh firmament, and he commanded that the sixth firmament should be removed from my sight. And I saw there on the fifth firmament the powers of the spirit of the stars, which carried out the commands laid upon them, and the elements of the earth obeyed them. Chapter 20. And the eternal mighty one said to me, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said to me, Look at the stars which are beneath you, and number them for me, and then tell me their number. And I said, How can I? I am just a man of the dust of the earth. And he said to me, I will make your progeny a nation as large as the number of the stars, and as powerful the power of the stars. And I will set these people a section for me as my inheritance. They will be distinct from those of Azazel, and yet I include Azazel in my house. And I said, Eternal and mighty one, let your servant speak before you, and do not let your fury ignite against your chosen one. Look, before you led me up, Azazel insulted me. Since he is not before you, how can you establish yourself with him? Chapter 21. Then he said to me, Look beneath your feet at the firmament and understand the creation represented and foretold in this expanse, the creatures who exist in it, and the ages prepared after it. And I looked beneath my feet, and beneath the sixth heaven, and saw the earth and its fruits, and what moved upon it, and its beings that moved, and the host of its men, and the ungodliness of some of their souls, and the righteous deeds of other souls. I saw the lower regions, and the torment, perdition in the abyss. And I saw the sea and its islands, its monsters, Leviathan and its fishes, and Leviathan and his lyre, his realm, caves, and the world which lay above him, and his movements, and the destructions he caused the world. I saw there the streams and the rivers with their waters rising and their windy courses. And I saw there the garden of Eden and its fruits, the source of the river that issues from it, the trees and their blossom, and the men ones who did good deeds, behaved righteously, justly. And I saw in it the garden, their foods and their restlessness, blessedness. And I saw there a tremendous multitude of men and women and children, half of them on the right side of the door, vision, and half of them on the left side of the door, vision. Chapter 22. And I said, Eternal, mighty one, what is this vision of creation? And he said to me, This is my will, for which is in the light, and it was good before my face. After this I gave them a command, and my word, and they came into existence. Whatever I had decreed was to exist had already been decided, outlined in this. And all things created, which you see, had stood in front of me in my sight before it was created. And I said, Lord, mighty and eternal, who are the people in this vision on this side and on that side? And he said to me, Those who are on the left side are all those who existed, were born before and after your day, some destined for judgment and restoration, and others for vengeance and estrangement at the end of the age. Those on the right side of the vision are the people set a section for me. These are the ones I have prepared to be born of your lineage and to be called my people. Some of these even come from Azazel. Chapter 23. Now look again in the vision and see who it is that seduced Eve and what the fruit of the tree was, and you will know what is to be and how it will be for your progeny among the people at the end of the days of the age. And all that you cannot understand, I will make known to you, for you are well pleasing in my sight. And I will tell you of those things which are kept in my heart. Then I looked into the vision, and my eyes looked at the side of the Garden of Eden, and I saw there a man of imposing height, and he was great, powerful in stature, incomparable in appearance. He was embraced and entwined with a woman who looked like his size and stature. They were standing under a tree of the Garden of Eden, and the fruit of this tree was like a bunch of grapes on a vine. Standing behind the tree was one who had the appearance of a serpent, dragon, but it had the hands and feet of a man, and it had wings on its shoulders. There were 6 pairs of wings, so that there were 6 wings on the right shoulder and 6 on the left shoulder. As I continued looking, I saw the man and the woman eating the fruit from the tree, and the serpent dragon was holding the grapes of the tree and feeding them to the two I saw embracing each other. And I said, who are these two that embrace? And who is this between them? And what is the fruit which they are eating, O mighty eternal one? And he said, this is the world of men. This is humanity. This one is Adam, man. And that one who is their desire upon the earth is Eve. But he who is in between them is the ungodliness of their behavior that is sending them on the way to perdition. It is Azazel. And I said, Eternal One, why have you given the likes of Azazel the power to destroy mankind, children of generations of men, and their works upon the earth? And he said to me, I gave him power over them who want to do evil, and those whom I already hated, and they will even come to love him. And I said, Eternal Mighty One, why did you want to bring into existence an evil that men would desire in their heart, since you are angered at what was chosen by those who do useless, vain, unprofitable things in your light, counsel, and presence? Chapter 24. He said to me, I am angered by mankind on your account, and on account of those who will be of your family to come, because as you can see in the vision, the burden of destiny is placed upon them. And I will tell you what will be, and how much will take place in the last days. Now look at everything in the vision. I looked and saw the creative beings that had come into existence before me. And I saw Adam and Eve and the cunning adversary who was with them, the crafty Cain who had been influenced, led by the adversary to break the law. And I saw the murdered, slaughtered Abel, and the destruction, lawlessness, perdition brought on him that was caused through the lawless one. And I saw their fornication and those who desired it, and its defilement and their jealousy, and the fire of the corruption in the lower depths of the earth. And I saw theft, and those who run after it, and the means and the ways of their punishment, retribution, at the judgment of the great court Azaz. And I saw naked men with their foreheads against each other, and their disgrace, and the passions which they had for each other, and their retribution, and the shame and the harm they worked against one another. And I saw desire, and in her hand was the head of every kind of lawlessness, and her scorn and contempt and waste was assigned to the destruction, perdition. Chapter 25. Then I saw something that looked like an idol. It was the idol of jealousy. It was carved in wood like father used to make. Its body was made of glittering bronze that covered the wood, and in front of it I saw a man who was worshiping the idol. And in front of him there was an altar, and upon the altar a boy was killed as a sacrifice in the presence of the idol. And I said to him, "What is this idol? And what is the altar? And who are those being sacrificed? And who is the one who performs the sacrifice? And what is the beautiful temple which I see? They are beauty of your glory, like that which lies beneath your throne." And he said, "Hear me, Abraham. This temple which you have seen, the altar and the works, are my idea of the priesthood performing in the name of my glory, where every prayer, request, petition of a man will enter and live. They include the praise of kings and prophets, and whatever sacrifice I decree to be made for me." And he said, "Abraham, listen. What you see is the temple. It is a copy of that which is in the heavens. It is glorious. It is in its appearance and beauty. I will give it to the sons of men to ordain a priesthood for my glorious name. In it, the prayers of man will be spoken and sacrifices offered. I have ordained this for your people, especially those who will arise out of your lineage. But the idol which you saw is the image of jealousy that will be set up by some of those who will come out of your own loins in later days. And the man who sacrifices in murder is he who pollutes my temple. These are witnesses to the final judgment, and their appointment has been set from the beginning of creation. And my father also wants us to add Genesis 25, verse 23. And just a quick glimpse, this is Genesis when Rebecca was giving birth to Esau and Jacob, what she was going through in her pregnancy. And the Lord said to her, "The founder of two nations are in your womb, and the separation of the two nations has begun in your body. The one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." Because of the way the last chapter ended, I had to include chapter 26 on this before I could stop the video. But chapter 26, and I said, "Eternal mighty one, why did you establish it like this, and then proclaim the knowledge, testify of it?" And he said to me, "Listen, Abraham, and understand what I am about to say to you, and answer my question. Why did your father Terah not listen to you? And why did he not cease his idolatrous demonic worship practices together with his entire house?" And I said, "Eternal mighty one, certainly because he did not want to obey me, because I did not follow his ways, deeds, or works." And he said to me, "The will of your father is in him, up to him, and your will is in you, up to you. And likewise, the counsel of my own will is within me, up to me, in my control. And it is prepared for, has prepared the coming days before you have any knowledge of them or can see the future with your own eyes. Now look again into the vision and see how it will be with your children, progeny, and generations."